like to thank the Chesapeake Bay Foundation and the other organizations represented here this evening for having this event. They've been doing it at various locations around the state to talk about the REIT proposal. And as I'm sure you've been told, this isn't necessarily brand new this year. This is actually a carryover proposal, if you will, from last session. Senator Wenger and I had included this proposal on a package of bills that were focused at agricultural and conservation related policy and appropriations issues. So I'm hopeful that this year, with the help of the foundation and other organizations, that there'll be a real serious attempt at being able to implement it. I guess what I'm saying by that is that I endorse the program. I am a co-sponsor. They probably told you that. And I'd like to explain, I guess, very quickly why I believe it's a good program. First of all, I think it's important to note that in addition to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation being here this evening, you have the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau represented. So I look around, I see quite a few folks from the ag community here, and that should tell you something. I know so many times in the past, Chesapeake Bay Program, Foundation, Commission, whichever you pick the group, but the bottom line is the Bay Program is over here somewhere, and the ag community is over here somewhere, and there's this clashing that takes place as we sort of shudder when we think about regulations and requirements and practices with lack of funding or too much red tape. I see that changing. As most of you probably know, in addition to serving a good number of years as chairman of the Ag Committee, I also spent many years on the Chesapeake Bay Commission. And that is those of us involved in those organizations, those two policy-related groups regularly have really tried, really worked, and found good cooperation amongst both the ag community and the conservation community, trying to make that distance less and less. Because the bottom line is this: the Bay Program, and we're right smack dab in the center of it here in York County in South Central PA, depends so very much on good, sound ag practices when it comes to meeting the levels of reduction of pollutants in the Chesapeake Bay. And really, when you think about it and you look at the statistics, number one, the ag community does play a significant role, and they do it in a way that is actually dollar for dollar the best value possible. There was a survey, a study that was done by the Chesapeake Bay Commission about 2 years ago, 3 maybe now, that showed that of all the practices approved for nutrient reduction in the bay, the top 6 of those top 7 were agricultural related practices. And we're talking about commonsensical things like cover crops and stream bank fencing, and you've all heard the list, so I won't go on about it. But what we attempted to do over those years was bring the communities closer together and try to find a way to have us operate more cooperatively. I think this program is an excellent example of how far we've really come. That's number one. Number two is the funding stream for this. I can tell you from experience, it's real easy to say, yeah, I want to put grass waterways and stream bank fencing and riparian buffers and barnyard improvements and all that sort of thing in my place. But when you really get right down to it and you start to go through the paperwork of it all and you start to look at who's going to pay the excavator and who's going to pay for the materials and whatnot, then that's a big question. When you're just worrying about how am I going to get the fertilizer bill paid and the seed bill paid, and milk prices are down and maybe corn and beans are good right now, but they haven't been all that long. My point is this provides a way for these projects to be funded and financed, and if the deal is done properly, upfront assistance with putting the practices in place on your property, but yet at the same time provide a benefit to the partner, if you will, and they are private partnerships with another business or organization that's looking for tax credits. This provides a vehicle for doing that. The key, Dave mentioned it, is that it remain a simple process, because again, my experience with programming has been that sometimes it's not as simple as we'd like. So, wow, Senator Waugh, this is great. This must be a wonderful program. There has to be a downside. The downside is the challenge of getting it passed. I'm not going to stand here tonight and tell you that getting $25 million out of this year's budget or next year's budget, which is what the bill is seeking, that it's going to be easy. And secondly, as Dave indicated, this year is extremely challenging. In fact, this is my 15th budget. We're in the process as we speak, and this is probably one of the, if not the most, going to be one of the, if not the most challenging budget years that I've encountered since being in Harrisburg. And I mean that. So what does that mean, and why are you here, and what am I asking? I'm asking the same thing Dave did. Yes, I'm a co-sponsor, and yes, I believe it's a good program, but quite honestly, if I have a sense of whether the people in this district, the district that I serve, are interested in this program and are willing to try it and participate, that gives me ammunition to go and sit at the table and say, when we start carving up that conservation funding, to say that this is something that really can work and will work, and people that I represent are interested in participating in it. So to send me a letter or an email or make a phone call saying, if you think you can get this thing passed, we would seriously look at utilizing it, what you've seen this evening, that would be appreciated, because believe me, it goes a long way in helping me to base my arguments and build a foundation for support. So I think that's all I really wanted to say. I again want to just thank all of you for being here this evening. I want to thank the foundation and the other organizations who are represented here this evening for coming to Jacobus to present this to you.